Hello and welcome back to the Oil Change Review, and as you most likely would have seen or guessed, we have the second Polymer note coming into circulation from the Bank of England, following on from the new fiver released just under a year ago now, and you can see of course it's for the new £10 note. And quite a nice looking thing we've got here as well. It's got a lot of the same security features as the not so new fiver, but there is a few slight differences in the design, which we'll come on to shortly, and of course we'll go into the collector's values and serial numbers to look out for at the end as well. And we'll also just revisit the collector's value and some of the serial numbers when we revisit the values of the Polymer fibers we've looked at in the previous video as well. So as you would expect, we've got the same basic layout as the fiber with the see-through window going on here, the denomination just showing everywhere. We've got the raised text of the Bank of England and the 10, and of course the Queen's face showing here and in the see-through window. Also, we've got the crown foil showing at the top and this book at the bottom here, which sort of shows the word 10 and pounds as you change it within the light. But then there are a couple of differences from the fiver here as well. You might just be able to make out that up here we've got two sections of 4 raised dots. And this is to actually help people with visual impairments to differentiate them from the £5 notes, which don't have any raised sections as well. And also on the window here you can just make out a quill, and this changes colour in the light from purple to orange. And where on the fiver we have Big Ben showing in the window, here we have Winchester Cathedral, which is the final resting place of Jane Austen, and brings us nicely onto the back if I turn it over. Now, I'm not going to go massively into the history of Jane Austen, as it's a little strange and at times also quite sad as well. But she was born in 1775 and became known for her 6 main novels, which 4 were published in her lifetime, which were of course Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park and Emma, and 2 were published after her death, which were Northanger Abbey and Persuasion. But the first 4 were published anonymously, bringing her little fame actually within her lifetime, and as she gave the rights away for them to be published, not too much money either. Also, trying to gauge what she was like personally outside of her work is a little tricky, as it is believed she wrote over 3,000 letters in her lifetime, but due to family reasons, less than 200 of these survive, and of those, some of those have actually been censored as well over the last 200 years, making it harder to gain a true vision of what she was like and her thoughts on life. And she passed away in 1871, aged only 41, but leaving a legacy of work which is still being celebrated 200 years after her death. Her novels have been rarely out of print and adapted into films and plays, which is why we have her image showing up not only on our notes here, but the Royal Mint is also releasing a commemorative £2 coin to celebrate her as well. But we'll come more onto the coin and Jane in a later video. So coming back onto the note now, we've got Jane here, bold front and centre, and then just next to her you can see a sort of etching design of her in the background working over her desk, and along with her name and dates shown here as well. And her initials show up here, you might just be able to make it out in a foil marking on a open book. And then of course we've got the serial numbers, and these are the ones which collectors will be keeping an eye out for. Obviously not this one because this is BC31 and massively down the line. But that also brings us nicely on to the values. And of course, this is going to be worth £10. It says it front and back. Take it into a shop, that's what you're going to be able to buy goods and services for. But like the £5 note, there is a sort of collector's value which can be applied to some of them based on the serial numbers and the condition the notes are in. When the new fibers first came out, the ones which were released with AA01s on them were going for around £100 each when we reviewed them. But that sort of died away after the first couple of weeks, and once the hype had sort of gone around them. And nowadays a AA01 fiber in good condition, which is very important, they seem to be going for around the £10 mark, maybe 20 on a good day. But what about these tenors? Well, this is only 4 days into circulation that I'm making this video and releasing it. And personally, I've only seen 2 AA01s online with other collectors, which I thought was a little unusual because as last time when the 5ers came out, they were everywhere very quickly. But doing my research, I found they're going to be releasing a lot more tenors into circulation than the 5ers, and the fact that I have a BC one here and I've seen some CA ones as well makes me think it's just to do with the sheer number of notes coming out now. So I think the AA01s will show up, it's just going to take a little longer for them to actually be fully out there and in circulation. And as for a price, well, I think it might just follow the same as the 5ers. The price will be crazy high at the start and then just suddenly drop. I may be wrong with this, but it's always worth just keeping an eye online and seeing what happens on those. But along with the AA01 notes, you also may have seen in the media there's been some hype around the other serial numbers as well to keep an eye out for. Ones linked, say, to Jane Austen's birth or death, like AA 1612-1775, which would be her birth, or AA 1807-1817, which would be her death, or even AA 2801-1830, which would be the date Pride and Prejudice was published. So it'll be interesting to see if these actually go for a higher price, and also if the AK-47s do well, because they actually did quite well last time and had a bit of a premium on them. But as we come to the end of today's videos, what's your thoughts on this new £10 note design, and have you found a nice low serial number yourself? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you found today's video informative, give us a like and subscribe for future content. But until next time, thanks for watching and keep collecting. Bye.